A report into the Tuam mother and baby home site, where the bodies of up to 800 infants are thought to be buried, has given the government a number of options on what to do next. Options include building a memorial on the site and not removing any of the human remains, to a full excavation and DNA testing of all the bodies found there. But difficulties have been highlighted over how successful the DNA testing could be. Fergal Keane's been reading the report. He joins me now. Fergal, this was an expert group. It was given the job of looking at what should be the next step and next steps.
And so this is a technical examination. They outline what is possible as time goes on, and they don't come down on any one option or another. But just by way of background, in a sentence or two, the Tuam Mother and Baby Home, it operated between 1925 and 1961. It had a very high mortality rate for infants born there, and it emerged in 2014 that most of those babies had been buried in unmarked graves on the grounds, and then later that a significant number of those had been placed in underground chambers which had been built for another purpose. And in total, 796 children are estimated to be buried there, and the task of this expert technical group which compiled its report was to see what options were available for the government as to what to do next.
All right, Fergal, thank you very much. Now, of course, Tuam is just one of multiple former mother and baby homes thought to contain infant burial sites. For reaction to today's report, I've been speaking also to Cathy McMahon, the founder of an organisation called Irish First Mothers, which represents more than 70 women who lost children to adoption at mother and baby homes. Cathy herself gave birth to a daughter at the Good Shepherd Convent in Dunboyne in County Meath when she was just 18. She didn't see her daughter for a further 28 years. During a second pregnancy, she was sent to St Patrick's Mother and Baby Home on the Navan Road in Dublin. Cathy has been giving me her reaction to today's report.
Of course, every time a report or a media report comes out on the issue of Tuam, it affects all women who have been incarcerated in mother and baby homes and forced to give their babies for adoption. It brings a lot of emotion up for us. But I feel that there needs to be a more extensive investigation around all parts of the country, particularly in homes where babies were born on site. In relation to today's report, I think that rather than all resources going into Tuam, with respect for the families and the deceased, rather than sinking all funds that are available into Tuam, that we have to keep in mind that there are other areas of the country that also need to be investigated.
They've listed 5 options in relation to the Tuam site. You've been through the options. We've reported on the options earlier on with Fergal Keane. What option or options do you think would be the right road to travel?
Well, I think the right road to travel would be the final option.
A total excavation? A total forensic excavation of the area?
Yes, because I believe that there's a lot more there at the site than is being reported from reports that I've read and from people that I've spoken to. You see, there are people out there who have found out that they had siblings who were in Tuam, that their mothers were in Tuam and the siblings born in Tuam, and they don't know whether those siblings are alive or dead. And in order for them to be able to find out exactly what happened, there needs to be forensic work done.
And you heard Minister Catherine Zappone and the report lay out the difficulties around the excavation and around DNA testing. But despite that, despite the risks involved, you think these are risks worth taking, do you?
Well, I mean, from what I know, there are people around the world who do these excavations and DNA and so on sites that are much older than Tuam. So I think that every avenue should be looked at.
The option that you're going for there, the option 5, total excavation and forensic analysis and so on, it is probably the most expensive option, but you think it's what the families and the mothers should get? If
that's what the families and mothers want. I mean, I'm not an expert on archaeology and anthropology and so on.
You're not, but Cathy, you are an expert on knowing what it's like to have been in one of these homes and to have had to give up your baby. So you know the emotional tug here and the need for answers.
Yeah, I do. And just my baby, I didn't give my baby up, my baby was taken. And the same for the majority of women across Ireland. We've lived with this loss of not knowing where our babies are. And there are families, and we're looking at Tuam at the moment, and that's what we're talking about, but there are families who are affected likewise down around Besborough in Cork. Also, I was in St. Patrick's on the Navan Road. Babies were born there. And I know that we're told that the word that they use is the cadavers were sent to the College of Surgeons and other places, and that stillborn babies and babies that died shortly after birth were buried in Glasnevin. But the way I feel about it is that every place where babies were born on site need to be examined.
Kathy McMahon of Irish First Mothers giving me her reaction a little earlier.